Do you think your child is left-handed? Maybe you're a little bit nervous on how you're going to teach him how to write. Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to the Parent-Teacher Bridge, where you can find the resources to empower you to be your child's most influential teacher. And today, we're talking about left-handed children and how to teach them to write. Maybe you're watching this and you're a left-handed parent. Maybe you had a more difficult experience learning to write, or maybe you have a pencil grip that's a little bit uncomfortable once you write a lot, and you just don't want that experience for your child. You know, my husband is a left-handed person, and so I knew that there was a chance we would have left-handed children. Sure enough, our oldest is a left-handed child, and I can remember being that parent watching my toddler and noticing, he seems to be using his left hand quite a bit. Am I just being paranoid here? And I would do little tests and hand him things and see, okay, yep, he does transfer that pencil, that crayon to his left hand to write. And I thought, should I try to change it? Is that the right thing? I totally understand what concerns that you may have, especially if you write with right hand and your child is left-handed. This can also go for left-handed parents who are teaching right-handed children. It works both ways. Let's get right to it. Number 1, should I worry about my left-handed child? The answer is no. Don't worry about your left-handed child. Most experts do not have the same thinking that they did in the old days about forcing the child to change over to their right hand. And you can let your child know they're in a very special group of people. Only about 10% of the world's population is left-handed. You can find those percentages vary a little bit, primarily because some parts of the world, people might still try to force their left-handed children to write with their right hand. Left-handed children can learn to write just as neatly as right-handed children, so don't let that stop you from encouraging your child to do their very best. Comment below if you have a left-handed child or if you are left-handed. Hi parents, is your child struggling to read or even hates to read and nothing you have tried has worked? Get my free guide, 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. I'm going to show you the simple tricks that I've used for years to successfully improve children's reading and their confidence in reading. It's easy, it's simple, and it's free. Just go to theparentteacherbridge.com/reading help. You can find that link in the description below. Number 2, how do I teach my left-handed child to write? As with any young child who is learning to write, you're going to want to make sure that you provide plenty of opportunities before handing your child a pencil where they can increase their fine motor skills like Play-Doh, stringing beads, shaping wiki sticks, and even just cutting on paper. All of those activities are going to encourage your child to write better and have an easier grip on the pencil when they begin. So let's start by laying that great foundation. Another idea to try is if you write with a different hand than what your child writes with, is to try it their way for a while and switch your pencil over to the other hand. I've even heard of some people doing this just to stay awake because they were bored in class. And whoever said that to me when I was researching this, you know who you are. But it also helps give the parent an understanding of what is it like when I'm trying a new skill with my hands and I haven't had much practice and I don't have much control, and it can help them put themselves in the place of their child. A left-handed child should tilt their paper like you see in this photo. Now you want to consider all the muscles in the arms when writing. Some occupational therapists even suggest that children write on an inclined plane, like those art desks. You can also try mounting something to the wall, like a dry erase board, even if it's a magnetic one that sticks to your fridge, to allow them to practice writing up and down this way rather than write on the table when they are first learning. Now, as far as how they hold their pencil, well, you need to know that there are several different kinds of pencil grips that are considered acceptable. So just because your child can write a certain way now doesn't mean that it's the best grip for writing down the road when they're having to write an entire page or an entire list of notes. You don't want them to have a grip that's going to tire them out or make their hand cramp up. Well, this was a concern of mine when my son was first writing, and I noticed that he held the pencil a bit differently than I did, no matter how many times I showed him. So I wanted to make sure that that grip was okay. So I researched it, and here are some of the things that I found. Now, here you see a picture of my second son who is right-handed, and he's demonstrating the way that I write, which is the dynamic tripod grasp. You have your thumb, you have your index finger, and then your middle finger is tucked behind the pencil. That's the dynamic tripod grasp that I was taught in school, and that's what I use all the time. But if you look at the next picture, you will see the dynamic quadrupod grasp. And that is what my left-handed child uses. And back then, I didn't know about the different things that I could do by giving him half-size crayons and breaking them down so that he might color, and it would force him to get into the dynamic tripod grasp. But I wasn't so concerned about that as long as I knew that the way he was doing it was considered acceptable by some experts in the field, and they could let me know that it's not going to be something that fatigues him. So if you'll notice, he's got 2 fingers on top of the pencil, and that includes his middle finger as well. And it would be his ring finger that is tucked behind the pencil, whereas it's my middle finger that's tucked behind the pencil. One helpful website where I researched the way that children grasp their pencil and what was considered acceptable that wouldn't fatigue them later is OT Mom, so OT for occupational therapists. If you will go into the description below, you can find that link. Her website is kind of long, but it does have many useful materials there for sale and lots of free useful information as well. Number 3, my left-handed child gets frustrated when cutting. What can I do? Now, many left-handed people might tell you that it's not the easiest thing to just grab a pair of scissors and start cutting, because the way the blades go past each other, it's like they're using the scissors upside down and they just don't grasp the paper as well. I only recently ordered a pair of left-handed scissors for my now 11-year-old son who is left-handed. So we opened those today. He didn't see much of a difference with them, but it's definitely worth a try if your child is frustrated. My Lefty didn't have much problem with cutting, but every child is different. So some other things other than ordering left-handed scissors for them is to avoid some of these scissors that have the plastic coating all the way down the blade. I do remember that my son did not like those as well. They just did not grasp the paper very well. So you can get some that have the exposed blade, but maybe they're a little bit blunted on the edge without being completely coated in plastic. Another thing you can try is give them construction paper or cardstock where the paper is not so floppy and it has a little bit more structure to it. That can be easier to cut for a beginner. Now, there are some cutting sheets that you can print out online where they have a straight line, a wavy line, and all of that. But just for strengthening hand and pencil grip, you could have your child just go to town on a piece of cardstock and cut, and make a bunch of confetti, or maybe make some pieces of paper for a mosaic where they don't feel the pressure to stay on the line at first until they have that hand strength. Number 4, what are some random tips for left-handed learners? Writing with pens or anything that is likely to smear is frustrating for a left-handed person because of the direction in which we write. So you might want to invest in a non-smear pen. It may cost a little bit more. You may have to keep it in a special place, but I think that would be a great idea so that your child doesn't get frustrated later on. And that goes not just for beginning writers, but your left-handed child all growing up. You might want to provide pens that don't smear. Another thing is to provide an easel for painting or a way to put the paper up vertically so that they can hold their paintbrush without it smearing. If they're just sitting like they would when they're writing, the paint is going to get all over their hand and it can frustrate them. Another thing to keep in mind is that not all left-handed people do everything with their left hand. Some people choose to hold a baseball bat in their right hand, or they might play a guitar right-handed. So as your child grows up, you may see that they favor different ways. Don't force them into one way of doing things. They might prefer their right hand for other activities. Now, if you're looking for some ideas in the area of handwriting, I always recommend to people Handwriting Without Tears for the manuscript. They have pre-K books, they have kindergarten books, they have first grade books, they have second grade books that are all in print before you even address cursive. I highly recommend those. Another idea is to use the Letter School app, and they just use their finger to trace that one, but it can help with the formation of letters. But I've used both of those for my left-handed children and my right-handed children. Was this video helpful for you? Do you have an idea that you would like to add? Write it in the comments below. And don't forget, share this video with a friend who you think would find it beneficial. Check out theparentteacherbridge.com for more helpful resources, including my 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget, you are your child's most influential teacher.